All right, Shalom. First, I'd like to start by saying all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai, by Shem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles that we will, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. This is just a quick video. As you can see, the title says, give me a second, Slacky. Biden addresses Putin's nuclear threats in Ukraine. Full CNN exclusive interview. So I'm going to play it and add some precepts as it plays.
Thank you so much for doing this, sir. Appreciate it.
Happy to.
So for people at home who don't know, this is the MAMP room. During World War II, this is where it was basically the situation room for FDR. He would look at sensitive information. And now we're at a period where there's another high-stakes war in Europe. You recently said that this is the first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis that there's a legitimate possibility of someone using a nuclear weapon, which could lead to Armageddon. That's the word you used. How realistic is it, do you think, that Putin would use a tactical nuclear weapon?
Well, I don't think he will, but I think it's irresponsible for him to talk about it. The idea that...
Right, so we're not here for what people thought. You got to see what the scriptures say. About the situation. This is all right. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. It says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it." The Medes represents the Russians. The Lord is stirring the Russians up. That's why Putin made that statement that they start Armageddon, and that's why so much chaos going on in the Middle East with them and Ukraine. But certain NATO members and the U.S. is helping back Ukraine. Hence the reason why it's taking so long for Russia to take over that area. It says, Isaiah 13 and 16, their children also shall be dead. Oh, that was like it. Give me a second. Verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Right? The Russians had already done away with the U.S. currency. I don't know if they fully got rid of it, but or if it's just a little bit left in their little system, or whatever the case may be. But the Russians is done dealing with the U.S. dollar. It says their bows shall dash the young men to pieces. Their bows represents the nuclear missiles. So the young men that's left over here in America when the nuclear missiles hit, that's their judgment, man. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, right? And that's the children, the little babies that's in the mother's womb. The mother gonna be killed and the baby gonna be killed by way of thermonuclear missiles. Their eye shall not spare children. In Babylon, which is America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Because America took on the philosophies of Sodom and Gomorrah, as well as Babylon and the Chaldees. That's why them names is there. So what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah was the Lord rained fire and brimstone from heaven, which destroyed that place. The same thing that's going to happen to America. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Right. After America gets destroyed, there will be no humans inhabiting this place. Humans, people, because humans, human men, color, men of color. Esau doesn't have any color. But yeah, there's going to be no one to inhabit this place but certain creatures, man. It says, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. And the Arabians pitch tents, talking about the Arabs and their little stores and stuff that they be having. It says, verse 21, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses, see, wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. That's the only thing that's going to be left here in America. And their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. Verse 22, it says, and the wild beasts of the I, islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Right, man. So eventually we come into the destruction of America, man. So you can uh, negate or not listen to what Biden is saying, man, because they're the devil. They're not gonna tell you the truth. They're gonna keep lying to you, just like how everybody just when Trump was in office, Trump was already bringing it down to you. But it's control opposition and stuff, with the situation. But yeah, that's just the Lord making their tongue to fall upon themselves. That's prophecy. Everything gonna come out. The scripture said, what was hid shall be uncovered. Uh, So everything gonna eventually come out, and these devils gonna keep lying to you until the last minute because they're the devil. Esau don't like Jake. Esau not, Esau trying to take Jake out with him. So, but it's all of this biblical prophecy. Eventually, Russia is gonna shoot the missiles upon America, man. So let's continue.
That a world leader of one of the largest nuclear powers in the world says he may use a tactical nuclear weapon in Ukraine. And the whole point I was making was it could lead to just a horrible outcome. And not because anybody intends to turn it into a world war or anything, but just once you use a nuclear weapon, the mistakes that can be made, the miscalculations, who knows what would happen.
What is the red line for the United States and NATO? And have you directed the Pentagon and other agencies to game out what a response would be if he did use a tactical nuclear weapon, or if he bombed the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine, or anything along those lines?
There's been discussions on that, but I'm not going to get into that. It would be irresponsible of me to talk about what we would or wouldn't do.
Have you asked the Pentagon to game it out, though? I mean, just in case?
The Pentagon didn't have to be asked.
So French President Macron told me that he doesn't think that Putin is acting rationally. And he said that he thinks a lot of this is because of how isolated Putin was for 2 years during the pandemic. And others who have dealt with him, Condi Rice and Bob Gates and James Clapper, have used words like erratic and unhinged to describe Putin's behavior today. Do you think Putin is a rational actor?
I'll tell you.
His behavior today. Do you think Putin is a rational actor?
I think he is a rational actor who's miscalculated significantly. I think he thought, you may recall, I pointed out that they were going to invade, that all those 100,000 or more troops there, no one believed that he was going to invade Ukraine. You listen to what he says. If you listen to the speech he made after, when that decision was being made, he talked about the whole idea of he was needed to be the leader of Russia that united all the Russian speakers. I mean, I just think it's irrational. So if
Now I don't know in particular what they're talking about, but if he's talking about, because I know Russia said something about reuniting the former USSR, and it was a little bit more to it, but roughly paraphrasing, that's basically what he was alluding to, you know. And all it is the Lord putting that in His spirit, man. The point of the videos that we put up, this been probably about Shemel shots down from the apostles of GMS, on down, and the brothers that ain't even in GMS that's doing the work, through the same spirit, in spirit, and sincerity and truth. The point of these videos is to prepare brothers for what's to come. So you got to be as spiritual as possible when you watching these videos and in your everyday life. So it's a scripture for everything that everybody's doing and everybody's saying, man. This is Proverbs 21 verse 1. The king's heart, and Putin is a king. Uh, is in the hand of the Lord. That word heart is a Hebrew word, lob, which means mind. The king's mind is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Right. So the Lord is controlling uh Putin's thoughts, man. The Lord got Putin making the certain moves that Putin is making, just like how he got Biden and everybody else making their certain moves and stuff. But for the statement that he just mentioned, and I think that's what he's speaking on. But I know I've heard Putin say something about bringing the former USSR back together. You know, and he said a lot more, but I forgot exactly. But this is so I can bear with me. This is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. It says, "And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, the land of Magog," talking about the Russians, "the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Right, so we're supposed to be prophesying against the Russians also. "And say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal," because Russia ain't nobody but Edomites also. They just got their name Russians put on them, man. They Edomites, man. It says, "And I will turn thee back," see the king's heart, the king's mind, "and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen." Right, turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws basically means the Lord is putting that former Soviet former USSR spirit back on Putin. That's why he's trying to bring in all the nations that was a part of the USSR together, and he got like 3, 4 more parts of Ukraine, but he has to get the rest of Ukraine because Ukraine was one of the major pieces in the former USSR. So if that's what he was speaking on, or Biden was speaking on, that's Bible prophecy. But I heard Putin say that himself that that's what he was doing. So that's how you know everything is lining up in the spirit, and we ain't got that much longer to go. But okay, Ezekiel 38:4, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." Right, and that's the Lord getting Russia ready for this battle between them and the U.S. and Israel, and their allies, and America is allies. uh, Russia and his allies, but America allies is eventually going to turn against him. So, but this is all this is speaking on, man. All of them handling swords, bucklers, and shields. That's their arsenal weaponry for in their military, from the regular missiles to the nuclear missiles, man. Missile shields, etc. That's all that's speaking on, man. So this is happening right before people's face. Esau and the elites of Esau and like Biden and them that's in these top Illuminati, 13 Illuminati bloodlines, skull and bones, secret societies. They know these things, man. It's just that the regular people, a lot of the regular people don't know. And even if they do know, if they're not of the elect, uh, their fate, if they're not of Israel, um, if they're not of the elect, and they of Israel, they eventually gonna be destroyed. If they not of if they of the other nations, they up in these lands where nuclear missiles get shot, the chaos, they can easily get destroyed, killed off. But the ones that's left are going into captivity, and then we're gonna rule this world. How about that? We have the elect. Well, all of Israel gonna be saved. So Israel gonna rule the world, but it's gonna start with the chosen, the 144,000, Yahushua, the 12, etc. Man, without going too far into it, because I don't have that much time. But I'm going to play the clip.
If he's not rational, and
No, I didn't say he's not rational.
you said the speech is what
I think the speech is
Okay.
his objectives we're not. I think he thought, Jake, I think he thought he was going to be welcomed with open arms. That this has been the home of Mother Russia in Kyiv, and he was going to be welcomed. And I think he just totally miscalculated.
So you talked about this a few days ago, the search for an off-ramp for him, because his back is against the wall. There are questions about how rational he is. He already was a brutal dictator. What is the off-ramp? Is there any acceptable way that he can leave, in his mind, without seizing territory in a way that would not be acceptable to Ukraine?
I don't know what's in his mind, but clearly he could leave. He could just flat leave and still probably hold his position together in Russia. The idea that he's been able to convince the significant Russian America of the Russian people that this is something that he thought made sense, but now he's accomplished what he wanted to do, and it's time to bring Russians home.
Would you be willing to meet with him at the G20?
See, that's just the thing. Everybody think this is about like this little petty war, petty beef over land, etc. But it's really about bringing a new world order in which the Russians is not having what they're trying to do. And other nations are not having what they're trying to do. Iran, in particular, China also. So that's just more of the story.
Look, I have no intention of meeting with him, but for example, if he came to me at the G20 and said, I want to talk about the release of Griner, I'd meet with him. I mean, it would depend, but I can't imagine. Look, we've taken a position. I just did a G7 meeting this morning. The idea, nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. So I'm not about to, nor is anyone else prepared to negotiate with Russia about them staying in Ukraine, keeping any part of Ukraine, etc. So it would depend on specifically what he wanted to talk about. But look, he's acted brutally. I think he's committed war crimes, so I don't see any rationale to meet with him now.
When people hear the word Armageddon, they get scared. Used by a U.S. president, they get scared. Do you think in any way discussing this type of thing publicly, openly, Putin's possibly...
People are supposed to be preparing, man. People get scared because they really don't believe in the Lord. The church speak on Armageddon in some way, some form, some fashion, the Lord's return, etc. all the time. So why is people being afraid now? Because they actually do not believe, man. Jake, these heathens, they all worship the devil. That's why they scared, man. If anything, you're supposed to be looking for the second coming. Preparing for the second coming, not being afraid of the second coming. You still gonna have brothers that's gonna get nervous. The Lord said we're gonna be scarcely saved, but right along with that is, we're gonna be with the elect. We're gonna be rejoicing. The scriptures say we're gonna be laughing at these people calamities, laughing at their deaths, the destruction when they get raped, etc. We're gonna have we're gonna be protected, all the above, man. So the world is not in the right spirit with what's going on. That's why people are afraid the way they are. And then the heathen should be afraid. Israel, 2/3 of Israel should be afraid too, man, because Lord ain't dealing with them. And, that's basically what they deserve, man. So,
use of nuclear weapons might have the opposite effect of what you want. It might make some of our wobblier European allies be even more scared of confronting Putin.
Oh, no, I don't think so at all. I think, look, there was a directed... When I'm talking to Putin. He, in fact, cannot continue with impunity to talk about the use of a tactical nuclear weapon as if that's a rational thing to do. The mistakes get made, and the miscalculation could occur. No one can be sure what would happen, and it could end in Armageddon.
And you still are afraid of that, though, that it could?
Well, no, I don't think any rational person saying the initial use of a nuclear weapon, killing thousands of people, does not have the prospect of leading to something that can be way out of control.
Let's turn to Saudi Arabia. Some of your Democratic allies on Capitol Hill
All right, and that's exactly where it's going. It could lead to Armageddon. You see Esau trying to prevent the Lord from returning, because they have to have the prophecy of Armageddon. The prophecy of Armageddon has to happen before the Lord comes back. Yahweh Shema Shai, or Yahweh going to send Yahweh Shai and the angels back during the World War, while the Third World War is taking place, which is the Battle of Armageddon, man. So this is Revelations chapter 16, verse 16. It said he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Armageddon means Armageddon, which is a mountain of troops. And that's what they over there getting ready for the battle of Armageddon. Hold on, let me see. Okay, cool. All right. Let me see. All right, this is Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. It says, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Right. One world war has passed, and two more world wars come hereafter. And that's what happened. This is the next one. This Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. It says, the second woe is past, the second world war is past, and behold, the third world war cometh quickly, right? And we living in that time now, man. People put it off. People didn't believe it was coming. Got impatient. But the prophets and apostles, the elders, the apostles, and the brothers that's been around, we still continued in the faith, man. Y'all right job we of the elect, cause it ain't over yet. It ain't over till it's over. But you got guys from the old school trying to come back in. You know, so there's all type of shit going on, man, because everybody's starting to see it. Jake waking up, it's all prophecy. Everything that's happening is Bible prophecy. All right, this is the last precept. This second Ezra, second Ezra, chapter 16, verse 14. It says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth." And the ultimate plague is the nuclear missile, man. And it ain't nothing that they can do, say, to avoid it. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returning not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Right, man. So all these forest fires, these floods, uh, all this death going on from this gun violence, these diseases which are pestilences, these famines which is lack of food, and then they just hit in the news media. Damn, I forget who it was, but you got another famine that just arose out of nowhere. Um, verse 17, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Right, man. So people gonna be looking to be delivered in those days, but it's gonna be too late for a lot of Israelites, man. the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. And you see that all that happening right now. The beginning of wars, and that's what they're talking about, the Battle of Armageddon. You know, it's already proxy wars going on, the Russians versus Ukraine, you know, etc. And the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Right, man. So the plagues, the famines, the tribulation, the anguish is for amendments, for you to correct yourself, man. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right. So Jacob not gonna come back to you about Shema Shai, man. You know, so they're gonna be taken in the all this death and starvation and chaos that's going on. Why do you think the rappers are still trying to rap, even though rappers are getting gunned down at an extremely high rate this year alone? You know, why do you think Jacob's still going to church? Why do you think the black woman turned to witchcraft, and they probably turned into it a whole lot more? You know, eventually they're gonna put them demons down, though. You know, some of them might come back, and a lot of them gonna be destroyed. So, but yeah, man, that's what's going on right now with the times. With that being said, brothers, keep the faith. Call all y'all Shema Rashad, double honor to the elders and the apostles of the will. And salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.